downwind. Cessna over the threshold, coming up on the white dot, at or beyond the white dot, left turn first available. I got a high wind coming up on about a half-mile final, clear to land at or beyond. Traffic on the left face, you're following a Cessna down, low off your left. Square it up just a little bit, and then we're going to get you in. Start your descent, though. Start your descent on the base. Traffic on final, give me follow on base. Base traffic, start turning toward the numbers now. High wing coming up on quarter-mile final, take it all the way down to the green. Cessna taxiing on the green, expedite down to the next hard surface. Get me some speed, there you go, go fast. This is going to be good. I got traffic on a mile final. You're following traffic ahead and to your right. High wing coming up on the threshold. Take it all the way down to the green dot.
5 Charlie Sierra, 2 mile final.
A mile final, turn north, and we're going to just make you, we're going to bring you back around. Jet traffic's coming up on about a mile and a half final. Runway 9 clear to land.
Okay, all right. Let's listen up, guys. If you're on final for runway 9, I want you to offset to the left. I got a jet that's landing on runway 9. The jet's cleared to land runway 9 if you can make it. If not, just continue straight ahead. It looks like you're going around for the jet. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Oh, we have one right in front of us, sir.
Dragger. Let's see. Well, we got a tricycle. Tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tail dragger, down to the green dot, then a left turn. Short final here. You cleared land on 9 all the way to the white dot. Go down to the white dot. Find somebody to follow out here. Canard, just come to the runway, and I might have to just send you around. That'll be fine. And for the jet, you just want to stay in this pattern, or you want to go back out for an instrument approach?
Stay in a pattern, Charlie Sierra.
All right, just stay with me here for a minute. And my tail dragger, let's see, over the numbers, go down to the green. And Canard's going to have to go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. And my high wing here over the runway, keep your airborne. Keep it airborne. You do not descend. Do not descend. You got a fast guy behind you. Do not descend. There you go. Keep it airborne. Keep it airborne. As soon as the guy behind you gets slowed down, I'm going to put you down. So keep it airborne. The one that just passed the white dot, make a left turn on the hard surface. All right, my high wing tail dragger, you can put it down now. You can put it down now. And Charlie Sierra, let me get you about a mile off. Let's see, Charlie Sierra, I lost. There you are. Make a left-hand turn. I'll try to resequence you here on the downwinds. We'll see how it looks. Short final, you're clear to land runway 9 on the white dot. Clear to land on the white dot. There you go. And the tricycle left on the hard surface and follow the flagman. Welcome. Thanks for being part of the show. And let's see, just find somebody to follow out follow on the final. And as you get close to the runway, if it's not going to work, we're going to send you around and then try to resequence you. Now, who else got sent around that's not back on the downwind? The Canard?
Yeah, Canard.
All right, Canard, there's a Gulfstream up there that went around too. I just lost sight of him, but you're going to make kind of a left-hand turn and stay low. I think Charlie Sierra, what's your altitude?
3,200.
Okay, that'll be fine. Just maintain VFR. I don't know what else is up there above you. Probably most everybody's down here, so just make a left-hand turn. We'll try to get you back here.
Canard's got the jet in sight.
Okay, the RB, maybe an RB10, whatever's here on final. Keep your speed up and go all the way down to the, aim for the green dot for me. Actually, keep your speed up. There's a guy behind you. Aim for the green dot, and I'm sure that's plenty of room for you to land on runway 9. You're clear to land on runway 9. Number 2, you're going to go down to the white dot. Follow the white dot. Actually, you know what? That's 1,500 feet. You're going to land at the white dot. The spacing looks adequate here. 2 guys on final. You're kind of tight there. Keep each other in sight, and you're going to aim for the white dot. If it's not going to work, we'll come up with a plan B. We might have to send you around. The second guy behind you out there in about a 2-mile final. Are you slow enough to be able to follow that guy in front of you? You need to go around. Well, I probably shouldn't ask that because I had about 5 guys answer me, so I should know better than that. After 35 years, you would think, right? All right, so let me see. The guy who's number 1, it's number 1. What kind of airplane is he? An RV type. All right, RV type. Keep it airborne for me. Keep it airborne. And I got a fast guy behind you. The number 2 guy over the trees there. Go ahead and put it down on the numbers. Put it down on the numbers. My first guy just coming up on the numbers at the over the grass at the numbers. I want you to keep it.
T-minus 1 minute and counting.
Hello.
Three, two, one.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. And thank you very much for joining us on this Thursday night. I am very pleased to say that I've never seen the comments this busy before we open up. And so looking forward to a great show tonight. And the great news is we've got Zara, who's already sitting there in the green room waiting. She's currently in Nome, Alaska. And the internet connection, fingers crossed, don't tempt fate, seems to be excellent. And on top of that, we got Simon Keeling here, also in the green room, both enjoying some blue Smarties or whatever it is. And he's going to give us some weather. And I think he might even give Zara some weather as well. So that'll be jolly useful. We're looking for Nome, Alaska to somewhere in Eastern Russia. I presume it's Eastern Russia. Anyway, so before we go on, I have to thank SkyDemon, who are the sponsors of the live stream. Very, very much appreciated. Without SkyDemon, without our sponsors, this wouldn't be possible. And here is this week's SkyDemon top tip.
Hi, I'm Rob from SkyDemon, and here's today's top tip.
In this example, we've planned to take the low-level corridor, but we have managed to get a transit to go through Liverpool's airspace. So what we can do is press the Find button up here, and then choose a waypoint further down our route, such as Chorley, and say, take shortcut. Now, SkyDemon has skipped the intermediate waypoints, going straight to our chosen waypoint.
For more information about SkyDemon, you can find our documentation on our website and within the app under the Help menu.
There you go.
Yeah, surely there's a function. If you manage to get that clearance from Manchester, then there should be a SkyDemon buy a lottery ticket.
Yeah, there should be a share button to share it with all your friends.
Yes,
I think that was Liverpool, but Manchester.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Well, Liverpool are pretty good. Manchester, I don't think I've ever had a clearance through Manchester, to the point that I don't think I even bother asking anymore.
Yeah, but once again, another tip where I've learned something.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. So what have we got tonight? Well, you won't be surprised to learn that shortly we've got weather, and then we've got a whole bunch of news and some other bits and pieces, and we'll be talking to Zara. Zara, in fact, Johnny, all of us will be talking to Zara Rutherford, who's making her way around the world at this point in time. She's so far reached Nome, Alaska, Russia in the next couple of days. So fantastic story. Lots and lots of great stuff. And if you've been following her on social media or on her website, you can see she's having a bit of a cracking time of it all. I'm sure it's not quite all as easy and straightforward as it appears online. There must have been some challenges along the way, but really, really looking forward to that interview. So without further ado, or whatever it is they say in the cliche world, let's bring Simon in and see what we've got in the weather. Simon, how are you doing? Let me add you in here, see if we can do this. There you go.
It's magic. There you go. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, Zara's on her way and is in Nome, as Ian just said, heading over to northeastern Russia, to Anadyr. Just been having a very, very quick look at things. Looks like there's an improvement there on Sunday. There's an area of low pressure just off Anadyr, just off that northeastern coast of Russia at the moment. Quite a deep area of low pressure, actually. Things there getting ready for winter, of course, and it's snowing there at the moment. Temperatures are around freezing, but it looks as if that low gradually clears away late part of Saturday into Sunday. So I think there's a little bit of a window there for Zara in northeastern Russia. I guess we better take a close look at the weather here in the UK, though, hadn't we? Really?
Let's do that. Let me see if I can do this. What happens when I do? Look at that.
There we go.
Wow. It works. It works. Okay, so this is Saturday, and this is how things look for flying here in the UK on Saturday. A little bit warmer. Temperatures on Saturday here in the UK could get up as high as 21 degrees across parts of eastern England. Now, notice there that front that's just lying down through Scotland into eastern parts of Ireland. It's got some rain associated with it. It's difficult to say exactly how much cloud there's going to be with that, but you can see here on the cloud ceiling forecast charts that it wants to put in a fair amount of cloud. Base is typically around about 2,000 to 3,000 feet for much of England, Wales and southern Scotland. Clearer there, those white colours telling us across northern parts of Scotland. But just something to note here, look at those red colours affecting southern coast of England. That probably means that we've got quite a bit of low cloud, quite a bit of mist and fog potentially in the channel on Saturday. So just watch out for that. And I think that visibility could be quite reduced across central central and southern parts of England. Just what you want to hear, isn't it? However, across much of England, Wales, as I say, southern Scotland bases around 2,000 to 3,000 feet and much, much better conditions as well. And then as we move into Sunday, high pressure off towards the west of Ireland on Sunday. Looks like we're going to be getting a very weak front coming into northern Scotland. For most of us, see how the cloud has virtually disappeared. Yes, we got the remnants of this weak cold front across central England, getting down to parts of Wales, just heading there into parts of southwest England. Bases along that, probably around 2,000 to 4,000 feet. Maybe a little bit lower very early in the morning, but it will really improve quite quickly. And then it looks flyable, actually, for most of us through much of Sunday. Sunday afternoon, probably slightly better than Sunday morning. So all in all, out of the 2 days, Sunday I think is the day that I'd be picking out there. We've got a weather school part 2 coming up this weekend. If you're joining me for that, hope you're looking forward to it. Loads to learn. We're going to be looking at SKUTs, which are kind of the holy grail of forecasting for pilots. But if you've not been to weather school yet, then come along to Aviation Weather School Part 1. My courses are full for the next couple of months, but I'm about to issue dates for a new set of courses. So if you want me to let you know when those dates are announced, just go to weatherschool.co.uk and send me a message on there, and I'll let you know as soon as the new dates are on there. So good luck, Zara. It looks like it's going to be Sunday is your day. And bye, everybody, and I'll catch you next week.
Thank you very much,
Thank you, Simon.
Okay.
Great. Look, you will notice, Dave said, just before we go on to the news, let me just have a quick look. There was a comment here somewhere. Can I find it? There you go. So Ian was clearly explaining to someone, explaining to Freddie. Ian's the publisher, Ed's the editor.
There was a comment from obviously we've got a whole bunch of new guests because new viewers, because obviously Zara's everyone wants to see Zara, and so Freddie Trebek asked, can you introduce yourselves? And one of our regulars, Catkin.
Yep. There you go. Davey's just a floozy to keep the others interested.
That's the first time I've been called a floozy.
Pretty much, I would have spelt floozy differently, but what do I know? Yeah, so for those people who are new, you're very, very welcome, and thank you very much. And we do this every Thursday evening at 7:30. We can't have Zara on every Thursday evening, unfortunately, but we would if we could. So you're very welcome. I hope you come back. So my name's Ian Seeger. I'm the publisher of Flyer Magazine. I don't know if it's the same for you, Ed. Tell us about yourself, Ed.
I'm the editor, and do stuff to make the magazine.
Super talented photographer. Who's that? Dave Floozy, we should call you.
I'm the former editor of several magazines, and these days I write the news for Flyer. And I'm also the oldest by quite a chunk.
No.
Oh, yes.
and I compete with Simon for shirts.
Johnny?
So I look after things like marketing and social media. So we're between the four of us, we kind of make a good job of it.
And Johnny is moderately good at maths sometimes.
Yeah.
Johnny sometimes remembers how much it is a quarter. Anyway, let's get on some news.
Good news. Me first. So, just a reminder: the new issue has been out just over a week. In that, you'll find a great LAA rally report, 8 pages on that, celebrating the 75th anniversary rally. Whole bunch of aircraft covered in that. If you missed the rally, then catch up with our report. We got a feature on engine overhauls. There's a fantastic flying adventure. Paul Cadell takes his Eurostar to Northern Ireland. Not quite as adventurous as Zara, halfway around the world, but equally fun. Plus, save a fantastic £53 with 6 free landings, Castle Kennedy, Clench Common, Crosland Moor, Edsfield, Enstone, and Land's End if you're a Fly Club member, and those are for use in November. So.
Thank you very much. And there's a link in the comments. If you want to click that, you can go and read the issue. There you go. So, Dave, you've got a slightly raunchy headline here, I think.
Well, yes. In our little run of show script, the headline says the CAA grows a pair. And this is a reference to Coventry Airport, where the objections officially closed earlier this week, but the CAA got in on Monday, the last day, with an objection, and it was a very powerful objection as well. It came from the head of the new airfield advisory team, a chap called James Head, and they basically detailed a whole bunch of things why the planning application to build a gigafactory on Coventry Airport shouldn't go ahead. He said things like, if the airport were to be closed, not only would the based operators be forced to move elsewhere or close, but a vital link for the next generation of aviation professionals will be lost in the region too. And further on, it said it would undermine the Department for Transport's objectives of promoting and boosting the viability of UK general aviation. So this team, the Airfield Advisory Team, is one of the creations of Grant Shapps, the Secretary of State. It was created last November. This, as far as I can tell, is the first time they've really come out in public and made a really public statement about things. And well, you have to say, great, fantastic. Yeah. It's gone down extremely well with some of the businesses on the airfield, as you might imagine. And it's a real step forward for the CAA.
Yeah, well, James.
As Darren Lewington says, bold move by the CAA, albeit non-regulatory part of it. Let's hope it becomes a standard response.
Yes,
absolutely. So while you're there, Dave, tell us about another sad story.
Well, at Fair Oaks Airport, which we all thought was safe now because the plan to build a garden village there was beaten off, if you like. But it appears that the people who manage real estate on the airfield are taking a slightly backdoor route, and they've let out, or they're in the process of letting out, the main hangar and the tower, crucially, to a company which has nothing to do with aviation. So they're going to have to somehow put a tower up, probably a temporary thing that you sometimes see at events. There's a whole lot wrong with this, because obviously with the hangar gone, people with expensive aircraft who want to keep their aircraft hangared will have to go somewhere else, which is a loss of revenue, a loss of business for the airfield. The cynical amongst us might say it's development by the back door. This is, I've been trying to get hold of somebody from the developers, a company called Westcore. I've been trying to get hold of one of the management of the letting team, a different company. And no one wants to talk at the moment, so I'm just finding out what I can at the moment. But it'd be very good if the CAA was to repeat its stepping in and telling it like it should. The thing about Fair Oaks is it's within the London zone, London LTA. So they can't have just a simple radio system. They can't have an air-to-ground system. They have to have a FISO, and so that's expensive to run at that level. If you haven't got the level of business, you can see it. You can see the airfield trickling away.
Absolutely. Yeah, and the fact that they haven't managed to speak to you at the moment maybe speaks more than they would have actually said.
Yes, I do know they're aware of me, because we've had a little, not a spat exactly, but we've had a little discussion on Twitter. But I've yet to get them, just to explain what they're doing.
If you can spot them on Twitter, then politely ask them to engage with us. I mean politely, don't pile on or anything, but just lean in, I think is the current term.
I am very polite.
Yeah, no, our readers, they're all very polite as well. So there you go, Johnny.
Yeah, so the Cessna Skywagon. We all know what that is, a 180, 185. It's now back in production with a company called Bushliner. So they're kind of remanufacturing the aeroplane. They're based in Washington State. They're going to be offering a certified version, which they're going to call the Cessna 180 or 185, and an experimental version, which will be the 1800 or the 1850. And back in the history of the airplane, 10,500 were produced between the 50s and the 80s. It's a very popular airplane amongst bush pilots and people who operate in remote parts of the world. And Bushliner themselves, they specialize in the complete overhaul of the airframe. So they start the process by taking the airplane apart, and every component is inspected, fasteners are replaced, structural components are replaced as well. But they're doing this because they kind of think that no other airplane that's on the market at the moment offers what the kind of performance and the reputation that the Skywagon family offered back then. And the price, are we going to have a guess?
Right, I know the answer. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it's just under $500,000.
Plus, you need a Skywagon, don't you, as a donor?
Yes, you do. You have to provide one for them to refurbish,
and they're not cheap. But these guys are pretty serious, and I know that this all began because they got hold of all the original tooling, or the jigs and things for the Skywagon. So yeah, if you're going to have one remanufactured, that's the place to go.
Yeah, Andrew Kennedy got it.
Ah, well done, Andrew.
Well done, Andrew. I'm lucky enough to fly a Cessna 180 from time to time in the wild bushlands of Wiltshire. I have to say, it's fantastically capable airplane. Ed and I went to Lundy in it, not last year, the year before, not this year, last year. Great airplane, great airplane. What's coming up next? Ed, news of a new kit aircraft.
Yes. Clearly, people have been clamouring that home builders are not being left out of the race to build electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, because the Japanese country Tetra Aviation, that's not Tetra Pak, have an eVTOL, the Mark V. It made its debut at EAA Adventure in July, and they're now offering the kit, the aircraft as a kit in the US. We heard from the CEO of Tetra, Tasuku Nakai, who said that we are continuing the development of the manned aircraft and aim to deliver it to customers who've made reservations around the end of the year. There's a video, which I know is floating around somewhere, and I think Ian can share that shortly. But their plan is for the Mark V is to sell it to private customers as a home-built kit in the US, which is their initial market. And with the Mark V, they're aiming to offering a new means of transportation for people who have a private pilot's license and want to travel independently in their own aircraft. So, it's and it will be available for sale to other countries. The price, a mere $400,000. And obviously, if you want to bring one here, you'll need to talk to the LAA.
Good luck with that.
France said, I've got this 26 engine thing.
Yes.
Before we show the video, I think what we'll do on the video is I'll put the video to one side and we'll run that at the end if we got time, because I'm kind of keen to move on to the Zara interview.
Excellent.
Because I think lots of people are here to see Zara, so let's not keep them waiting for too long. Although clearly they want to get the aviation news. Who's doing the Dave? You're up next.
Yes, it's another electric aircraft story. This is the Air Race E series. E for electric is the very first one that is ready. The very first race that is ready is this. It's built by the Nordic air racing team from Norway, and it basically it's a Casut 111M airframe, but with their own power plant in it. So they basically left the airframe standard and just put a new power plant in it. It's quite a bit more powerful than the standard Casut. Apparently the standard Casut has 100 horsepower. This one has the equivalent to 170 brake horsepower. So it's quite quick. They're even saying they can get up to 400 kilometers an hour. That's pretty quick. That's 250 miles an hour. That's roughly. So so that's it. They're hoping to have it to make the first flights in the next month or so, and they're getting ready for the series, which will start in a couple of years.
Cool.
Excellent.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, just a little quick one on Virtual Voyage. I don't know how many of you out there managed to join in the CA Virtual Voyage presentation yesterday, where I did a whole bunch of the questions. Johnny was playing with his keyboard. Then he just it's a bit. I say a whole bunch of the questions. Actually, I probably got through about a third of the questions that I had, and there's a whole lot more, and that was reduced. I mean, frankly, it was kind of well done to the CA for putting it out there, but probably needs a bit more time for more questions. And I saw that when they did today's version, Jeremy Dyatt from Flight Training News, they allowed him a little bit more time, which is good for him. Maybe they learned from one day to the next or something. But I'm gonna get in touch with the CA and see if we can't persuade them to host a live stream with us where we just really about questions, not presentations, because the presentations. Well, presentations are presentations, aren't they? And I think questions would be better. So let's get on and do that. Just briefly, if you're interested in the career as a professional pilot, then come along to Pilot Careers Live in London, T5 Sofitel Hotel on the 6th of November. If you go to pilotcareernews.com or pilotcareerslive.com, you can find out all about it then. So that would be a good thing. And I think it must be time for...
Right. Well, we're whizzing through. I know people are anxious to see Zara. Well, there aren't any rats at the moment, apart from in the heading, but there is a NOTAM over Sleep. There is a NOTAM over Sleep from today until the 10th, Saturday. This is for the British Aerobatics competition going on there. Surface to 5,400 feet. Again, not a rat, but a little bit of chart news. There's a new 1/4 chart out today for the West and South Wales. Paper one, Ian, the proper one.
What is that thing of use? Actually, I did actually get one the other day. Like, not a 1/4 mil, because I mean,
mostly microlight is like 1/4 mils.
Yeah. So I got a 1/2 mil, but I don't intend to use it.
No. Okay. Quick run through a couple of some TDAs, temporary danger areas. Till the 15th of October, still got the Sky Guardian ops from Lossiemouth and Waddington. Till the 23rd of November, still got the Portsmouth to the Isle of Wight TDA. This is a strange dogleg thing. And till the 24th of November, there's still the one that's still the corridor at Cranfield. These are all operating drones.
It was at the CA thing today. They were talking about drones because there was a question about, does the CA favour drones over GA? And one of the guys giving the answer was saying, "Oh yeah, well, clearly when there's an operational need, like to get samples and stuff like that to the Isle of Wight, and I'm like, an operational need? Do me a favour, it's the freaking Isle of Wight. It's not bloody Tasmania. You could almost bloody swim it quicker than you could get. I mean, seriously, that is the problem. When you kind of give us rubbish like that, no wonder people then get cynical about it and can't work together because you just need to be honest." Anyway, sorry.
Right. Any more?
No, I think it could be time. Finally, if I can find my mouse. Here we are. Let's try and bring in Zara. Hello, Zara.
Hey. Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Hang on a second. Oh.
There. Oh, so close. There we go.
Hi. Yeah.
Hi. Johnny, over to you.
Yeah, right. Thank you very much for joining us, Zara. Now you're kind of basically halfway around the world from where we are, really. So just update us on where you are and what the time is.
Yeah, so I'm now in Nome, Alaska. It's almost 11 o'clock here in the morning. And yeah, my dad sent me a message just before I arrived saying there's no place like Nome, right? Like there's no place like home. And
that's a real dad joke.
That's a dad joke.
Yeah.
Hide your head in shame for that joke.
But yeah, it's been great. It's kind of cold. It's also weird knowing that I'm on the opposite side of the planet from like my parents and home. But it's beautiful. The one thing that's a bit frustrating is that the sun, like it comes up relatively late, but then also the sunset is quite late, but it's always quite low. So it's always in your eyes. So I was trying to go on a walk and I just had the sun like constantly just in my face. But it's fascinating. Yeah, it's been really cool.
Real. Now, thinking back nearly probably 2 months now, how was that first Atlantic crossing for you?
It was tough. Yeah, it was actually it was a lot harder than I thought it'd be, just because I'd like to say I was relatively unlucky, but it was okay. But the cloud base was just quite low. And so I'm not allowed to fly into cloud. And so I was just kind of stuck beneath this overcast. And it was annoying because I'd met a couple pilots in a week that were also flying to Iceland at the time. And like on the radio as we were going, they were like, you know, you like just come up, like it's clear, like blue skies at 5,000 feet, and like I just have this wall above me, and I'm like, I know, I can't do anything about it. But yeah, it was good. Iceland was like a 5-hour flight. That was, I think, my first long solo over water one. I went to, I think my lowest point was 1,500 feet to just stay below the cloud at that point. Lost radio contact almost straight away. But I mean, it was nice. You know, I had music and podcasts to keep me going. My most challenging flight was definitely Iceland to Greenland. The cloud got really low. So at one point, I was at 600 feet above the North Atlantic, which isn't the fun, like, it's not the most comfortable thing. I was kind of considering dipping my toes in at that point. But yeah, it was fun. And then seeing Greenland is like the most rewarding thing. It was amazing, especially like the icebergs and things like that. It's just like it takes your breath away.
And are you kind of less apprehensive about water crossings now because of
Oh.
having nailed that first one?
Yeah, so so then I also had a 6-hour flight over water from the Caribbean islands to Colombia. And so now, especially coming to Nome, usually most people go along the coast, and I was like, I'm just going direct. Like there's like kind of this weird U, and going along. So Nome is up here, and then I was down here, and most people go along the coast, and then I just went, no, I just don't want to. So yeah, water isn't as scary anymore, but I think the Bering Strait is going to be a challenge.
And the aeroplane itself, the Shark, is it performing as you'd hoped it would?
Yes, it's been really good. The temperature, because it's quite a small cowling, the temperature regulation can be challenging at times. So especially in places like Colombia and New Mexico, I had to taxi relatively quickly to try and cool the plane down before taking off. But yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, you know, I'm halfway around the world. I've had a couple like maintenance stops, but nothing major. So I'm really happy, and yeah, I love it.
And just going back to the water crossings, what kind of podcasts were you listening to?
So I was just listening to the most random things. It got to a point, especially with my music, where it was like anything. I will listen to anything new. I don't care, just anything. And then for podcasts, there was this one podcast about interviews with celebrities that was WTF with Mark Maron, I think. And so it was like Matt Damon, I think a couple presidents from the US and stuff like that. It was like an amusing podcast, but otherwise, yeah, I'm not too fussed really.
Real. And of the countries that you've visited so far, has there been one that's been kind of the most difficult in terms of like admin and permissions?
Actually, in that sense, people have been really helpful. So it's quite lucky that I've got some of press behind me in that sense, is that people are really keen to help and make sure that everything goes smoothly. So that's really good. For the flying wise, it's kind of a joke, but it's not really a joke that every flight has had some sort of challenge. I've had maybe 35 flights now, maybe a bit more. And I think, 5 or 6 of those have gone as I planned them with no challenges whatsoever. Every time on the other flights, something goes wrong. And for example, the weather, thunderstorms, low clouds, wildfires in California, which I wasn't expecting, just a whole range of different stuff that comes up. And so it's been challenging, definitely.
Yeah. And you've spent a lot of time in the USA. So how's that compared from a flying point of view to Europe?
I really like it. So there's no airspace, or basically no airspace. So I can just kind of go direct, which is pretty fun. And also radio, like I'm almost always in range, which is, it's nice having that in the back of your mind, I guess. So I've really enjoyed it. It's been like terrain-wise and climate-wise, it's been a bit more challenging. I got into some relatively heavy turbulence in Seattle, going up to Alaska, and then in Alaska I had to divert because I was flying through valleys, and then at one point there were a couple of valleys I could go through to get to Juneau, which is up north, and they were all blocked by rain showers, and so I just couldn't get through them and had to land in Ketchikan. Spent a couple of days there, had some local salmon, so I was really happy. And then headed off to Juneau, was stuck there again for 4 days. Then headed up to Anchorage, really bad turbulence again, trying to get there. I was really close turning around actually. And then Anchorage, spent a day there, and then got to Nome. And then Nome again, really heavy turbulence. So it was just a few days of like, oof, like the last couple of flights have been more challenging than I would have liked it to be.
And one question from a viewer, Freddie. Where has been your favourite place that you've visited?
I really liked Greenland. I loved it. I think partly because I was so kind of proud of myself for reaching Greenland. I think that was one of something that I always sort of look at. Wow, like flying yourself to Greenland is pretty cool. So already arriving there, I was super happy. But then also I met some really cool people. So I was in Kulusuk for a couple of days. So that's on the east coast of Greenland. And I was in this little hotel, and I met some NASA scientists over there, and they were doing climate change measurements. And so they would go out with a couple pilots in the DC-3 and drop probes, like aim and kind of like drop, probes into the ocean, and to measure, I think it was temperature and the salinity of the water and things like that. And they were super interesting people, and I kind of spent like 3 days with them, sort of tagging along. Sadly, I asked them if I could join them. Sadly, paperwork was an issue there, but yeah, it was super cool.
And another quick one from a viewer, Cloudhopper. Are you going to write a book?
I think I'd like to, but I don't know. My English literature was never my strong suit, but yeah, I'd love to.
And then one question which I think has popped up, and somewhere I've got a picture of it, is this.
Yeah.
How did this come about, and how was it?
Holly, I got an email, I think, from someone kind of who's been helping me out, saying, Holly Branson wants to talk to you. And I was like, I'm sorry, say that again. Like, who? Like, why? How did this come about? Having Holly Branson knowing about me and my trip was pretty crazy. And then, sure enough, I got a phone call one morning from Holly Branson saying, "Look, I think what you're doing is really cool, and Virgin, and on behalf of Virgin, I'd like to sponsor you and help you out." And I thought, this is the craziest thing. And then it kind of grew from there. So I was headed down to the Caribbean Islands anyway. And it was like, well, if you land at the British Virgin Islands, it was a big maybe, you might be able to have lunch with Richard Branson. And so I just did a double take, like, I'm sorry, excuse me, say that again. And it was crazy. So I landed again, really big maybe. I was already late because I had to land in Turks and Caicos the night before because of really bad visibility. So I woke up that morning, left the moment the sun had risen. I was off. It was about a 3-hour flight to the British Virgin Islands, and then landed, and it was a little big maybe. And then suddenly someone who kind of helps him out and works for him was like, yeah, we're going to his island now. Like, grab your bags. And so I went in my flight suit and everything. I left my bags behind, and straight from the airport to Richard Branson's house, and I was able to meet him. Yeah, it was really cool. Really nice. Had loads of questions, and it was amazing. Fantastic. But yeah, I think I was joking about this earlier, but if anyone would have told me 2 months ago that I would be paddleboarding with Richard Branson in the Caribbean Islands, I would have laughed. It would have been ridiculous.
Brilliant. And did you visit SpaceX as well?
I did. So this was in Hawthorne in LA. Right. I was able to see the factory and kind of see what they were up to, and that was really cool. That they were really nice, touring me around. I wasn't allowed, it was the same with Virgin Galactic. As an international, as a foreigner, you're not allowed to see everything really. But it was amazing. So I got to, with Virgin Galactic, I actually got to fly their simulation. So they've got a whole simulation going, and so you kind of know what it's like to spend a couple of minutes up there, and that was really cool.
Brilliant. And you dropped into North Carolina, I think, and
I did.
Lilac,
Yeah, for first flight.
Lilac's asking what was it like flying into the birthplace of aviation?
That was weird. Yeah, that was, I mean, weird in an amazing kind of way. So I landed there. It was, I couldn't see the runway for a really long time because it was all like there were trees all around, so it took me forever. So it was a pretty rough landing. But yeah, I got to kind of see exactly where the first flights took place, and it kind of makes you realize how quickly aviation has evolved. I mean, that was only 120 years ago, kind of. So seeing it, kind of, yeah, I can't describe it. Right, it's one of those feelings where you feel it's very philosophical and where you're just thinking deeply about about everything. But it was really cool.
Brilliant. And now going on to your route, where is next? We've had a few questions about Russia. One from this chap. When do you anticipate departing Nome?
So I got my Miffy, so that's my mascot, my co-pilot. I'm actually not solo, I've got a couple of co-pilots with me. But she came back with my passport and my visa yesterday. So I got everything I needed yesterday. And then I was hoping to get out today, but the weather up in Russia is not looking ideal. So Sunday is looking good. So the airfield closes over the weekend in Russia, but Sunday is looking good. So I'm really excited for that. And yeah, I've never been to Russia, so that'll be good.
Good, that sounds exciting. Now, Andrea says, which flying skill do you feel has improved most so far?
Oof. I think sort of coping with things you weren't expecting in that sense, sort of keeping your cool and saying, actually, no, let's do this, let's do that, like not rushing into decisions as well. And just thinking, okay, I'm going to take a minute to kind of relax. Like this just happened, or I just saw that, or like a bird like just narrowly missed me. You get kind of used to that. But I take a couple minutes, just kind of regroup and see what is the best decision. I've had to divert quite a few times on this trip. So it's just, okay, so I'd like to divert now, but which airport should I land at? Are there ones that are better than others? And actually coming down from Northern Colombia to Southern Colombia, it was supposed to be a 4-hour flight, I think. And kind of 2 hours into my trip, I was above the cloud at this point because the cloud bases were way too low. And so I was at 9,500 feet, I think. And every 10 minutes or so, I just had to go up another 1,000. And I just thought, so at this point, I think I was at 10,500. And I'd already sort of said, I'll try one more time, right? Like just 10 more minutes, see how it goes. And it was worsening, it wasn't getting better. So I just landed at the nearest airfield. I just thought, well, there's one right here. I guess I'll just land there and wait the weather out a little bit. And so that's what I did. I just, by coincidence, like it happened to be Quibdó. So I land there, and then like an hour later, someone comes up to me and says, you just landed at the rainiest city on Earth. And I was like, sorry, excuse me. And sure enough, I Google it, and Quibdó, Colombia is the rainiest city on Earth. And by complete coincidence, I happened to land there. So sure enough, I was stuck there for 2 days because it is pretty rainy. But it was amusing.
Brilliant. And how was like the likes of JFK?
So I think coming in was a lot scarier than like sort of landing and taxiing, because you're flying, just above New York City, which I wasn't really used to. So I'm used to kind of, in England and stuff, there's a lot of green fields and, all the pretty, in Belgium as well. Like there's always some place to land in case everything were to go wrong. But at that point, it's just like, buildings. And it was really cool, slightly scary, obviously. I wanted to be really like professional and everything, and came in to land. I had a follow me car straight away because it's obviously such a big airfield that you just get lost. And then actually on the way out was a lot more interesting, because then I was in this queue. There's a pretty long queue to take off at JFK, and it was like Boeing, Airbus, Boeing, me, Boeing, Airbus, Boeing. And I've got video where I'm just filming and you see this huge plane, and then I go back and like maybe 6 or 7 other huge aircraft behind me. And so I line up, and this the JFK ATC clears me for takeoff, and then he had done that just after another huge aircraft had taken off. So I kind of awkwardly go, "Can I just wait 1 minute, please?" As there's a huge amount of planes waiting for me. So that was a bit, but I mean, it was fine. It was really fun. And then I just got out and flew straight over Central Park, and yeah, that was amazing.
Brilliant. Now, the rest of your journey, you're going Russia, and then it's Japan after that, isn't it?
Yeah. So actually, I'm going to South Korea now. So China was tough because of COVID restrictions, and Japan is hard because of the sharks. The shark is a microlite, and there's a couple. They're a bit stricter with microlites over there. So then I'm going to South Korea instead.
Yeah, and then where's your second antipodal point? Was that somewhere in Southeast Asia?
Yeah. So normally it was going to be to Mako in Colombia and then Jambi in Indonesia. But because I had to land in Quibdó and then start heading back north to kind of avoid wasting time, I'm going to Jakarta, Indonesia. So I think normally that should be about 2 or 3 weeks away if I keep going. If it keeps going well. But yeah, I'm excited. So we'll see. I've never been anywhere near there. So.
Brilliant. And now another viewer question: the shark, does it have enough space for all your luggage for the entire world trip?
Yeah, that's the one thing. The shark is amazing, but there isn't a huge amount of space. So I've got my fuel tank in the second seat in the back, and on top of that, I also put my another bag. But yeah, it's been good. I don't have I have about 2 jumpers for. I wasn't expecting to spend so much time in Alaska, so I've been a bit cold, but yeah, it's been good.
Brilliant. Now, Ed, Dave, any questions?
Which is the bit you're looking forward to the most? I see you're drinking water or moonshine there.
Yeah, keeps me going. I am looking forward to South Korea. I think hopefully the flying should be quite good. I'm obviously looking forward to more flying being near the equator, but the flying does tend to be trickier. I mean, there's thunderstorms kind of everywhere. I was flying through Mexico, and then I've got Iridium communications, so I'm able to kind of text people on the ground. At this point, I've got a few people there to flight follow, just to make sure that if I need something, I can quickly text them and they'll be there kind of on standby. At this point, it was my dad, and so I'm kind of being efficient, if you will, because I'm trying to beat the sunset, and I can see some activity so it's all blue skies kind of, but I can see some stuff in the distance on my heading. So I messaged him and I'm like, there seems to be some activity ahead. Could you check the satellite and make sure that there's no thunderstorm or something? And he says, no, it's fine. Just go direct. Completely fine. There's nothing there. Blue skies all the way. Okay. And then a minute later, I'm like, no, I feel like there's a thunderstorm there. Could you just double check and see how big it is and how far around it I should go? And again, he's like, no, honestly, completely fine. I checked it, just go straight, no issues whatsoever. And then I say, no, you don't understand. I can see the lightning strikes. Please, can you tell me what the best way what to do? And he was like, yeah, just go around it. I was like, okay, cool. Yes, it's not too big. But yeah, it was funny.
Brilliant. I've just noticed one really important question, which is, what's your favorite in-flight snack?
So every stop, people have been giving me the local delicacies, I guess you could say. But yeah, I'm just kind of anything that people give me, I'll eat. But it's been good.
So isn't that when you leave Alaska, isn't the speciality a kind of little putrid bit of rotten whale or blubber or something?
I had those beef sticks. I had a moose stick. So that was cool. Yeah. So they're a bit different, but
which has been your favorite? Similar. Which has been your favorite airfield so far? Apart from Popham.
Popham, I love Popham. Yeah. Greenland was really cool. It is stunning. It is stunning. And then JFK was pretty. Yeah, I mean, how to compare? I mean, every airfield has been relatively similar. They've been quite big, asphalt. But yeah, I think Greenland was amazing. JFK was really cool. Those would probably be my top two.
Just for fun, Whiskey Alpha says, you've got Zara calling ahead to get weather advice from her dad, when most people her age are going, "Dad, I need a taxi."
Yeah, I've been that taxi a few times.
I needed I had to divert for the sunset in a place called Washington Warren in North Carolina. And by the time I landed, the airfield was completely empty. There was nothing there. It was pretty big actually, but absolutely no one there. It was like dark at this point as well. So I've landed and I get to sort of the parking lot and I'm trying to contact these taxi companies, but with my accent, I'm trying to tell them I'm at Washington Warren Airport. And they just respond like, "Madam, like Washington DC is very far away from here," and so I have to say no, Washington Warren in North Carolina, and nobody really knew what Washington Warren Airfield was. So I had to try and convince this taxi to please come and pick me up because I really need a place to stay overnight. And he was half an hour away, so he said, "Yeah, I mean I could come, but it's going to cost you quite a bit." So, and then at that exact point, a car drives in. And people said this is an empty parking lot and it's pitch black outside. And so one car comes in and I'm like, this is a bit weird. But I tell the taxi guy, I'm like, well, someone just drove in. Just like, let me call you back in 5 minutes. I'll try and catch a ride. And so he stops and then sure enough, I go to this guy. I never asked him why he was there, but I just figured, this is my best shot. So I asked him like, "Sir, I'm really sorry about this, but there's a hotel about 10 minutes away from here. Would it be okay if you could kind of just drop me off?" He was like, "Yeah, no problem." And so that was how that was a bit of an adventure. And when I tell my dad, he laughed. When I told my mum, I think she had a look of horror on her face. So, yeah.
So are you handling all your own logistics kind of place to place?
No, so that's where I'm lucky that I've got some people helping me out. Usually I'm staying with hosts, but when I divert somewhere, I'll sort of sort out like a hotel or something. Like it's not too tricky. Yeah.
Nice one. I have to say I'm really impressed. I'm really impressed with I don't mean this to sound patronizing, but with the maturity of your decision making along the way in your diversions and stuff like that. That's kind of the really impressive part for me.
Thank you. Anyway. I've learned to kind of not that I would obviously ever divert on purpose like before, but sometimes it's quite nice diverting because it doesn't make it like really adventurous, right? You land somewhere that you weren't planning on landing at, and so suddenly you're stuck in this town that you don't know. In Quibdo, they gave me a police escort back to my hotel, and they told me, you are not allowed to leave the hotel without like this guy. Like they gave me a list of people, like this person, this person, this person, and if someone new comes up, you call us straight away and ask us if it's okay. So you get this whole new sense of adventure, I guess, which is pretty cool.
That's amazing.
Did you tell your mum about that?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Did you tell your mum about that?
Yeah.
There's one comment that sums up everything here. I think impressed is an understatement.
Yep.
Oh, and Chuck Miller says, "How is the Rotex holding up?"
Really good. It's been really, really good. I've been testing the plane. I'm basically a test pilot at this point. I went up to 13,000 feet in Greenland. And then just the other day, it was minus 13 degrees Celsius at about 8,500, I think. So I'm kind of testing it out, seeing how it goes. And it's been amazing. It's been really good, yeah.
Fantastic. Yep. One more question. Manfred says, how many people are working behind the scenes to keep you going?
Sure. So I've got, for the flight following kind of logistics of it, my dad's helping me out. An amazing woman called Megan Bowden helping me out. And in the US, I had John Skitone. He's been kind of, because of the time difference, it's kind of tough to get people in Europe involved. But so those are the biggest three. My mom's been helping loads with my social media, as well as a couple other people. And so I've got about, I'd say 5 people, working like a lot on this project. And without them, there's no way I could do this. So yeah.
When are you expecting to be back?
November, sometime in November. Yeah. But then I'm saying, like, as long as I'm back before Christmas, I'm happy.
What? Yeah. One more question from the comments. When this is all done, what are your career plans?
I'm hoping to go to university next year to do electrical engineering. Sorry about that. I'm actually applying right now, so that's been quite tough to try and get it's quite a lot of work to try and apply to different universities. But that's been fun, and then we'll see. After that, we'll see. Yeah.
I think any university that learned that you applied while flying around the world would be like, no, here's a place.
Hopefully, because I'd like to get in. Yeah. No, but I'm really excited.
I have to say that's been hugely impressive. We've had some fantastic guests on in the past, but you've been amazing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's very kind.
Okay,
thank you, and thank you guys for. I was supposed to be on this a few weeks ago, so I apologize about that. But I think at the time I was battling wildfires in North California.
Okay, so now you got your priorities sorted out. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, loads and loads of congratulations and things in the comments to you, Zara, and obviously just best of luck from all of us, and keep flying safely.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Zara.
Thank you.
It must be time for.
We could. That's one of those. Well, hopefully we'll be able to get Zara back again once she's complete. Just to devote a live stream to that, because that would be. There's obviously so much to talk about, but what a fantastic guest.
Amazing, isn't it? Amazing.
Yeah.
We'll have to,
utterly brilliant.
We should pop over to Belgium and do a live stream live, as it were.
Yeah.
Most of the remote live stream.
Yes. Anyway, fancy hanger. This week, inspired by the news story that Bushliner plans to remanufacture the Cessna 180 and 185, we asked ourselves the question: if you could put something back into production, what would it be, and how much would a new one cost? So what did everyone pick?
First?
Who's up
Right.
first?
Well, there is an obvious contender here, and I've chosen it, of course. No, it's not a Luscombe. It's the de Havilland Chipmunk, of course. It's a fabulous aeroplane. I guess lots of people would have flown in one of these as possibly their first flight. My first flight ever in a light aircraft was in a Chipmunk, and they're just delightful to fly. And they've got an iconic aeroplane. Did you know that this was the RAF's trainer for 50 years? Introduced in 1946, went all the way up to 1996. That's astonishing. I can't think of any other aeroplane that's had such a service life as that. Anyway, so Ed goes on about he was burbling on about the engine. What engine you're going to put in it? And I thought about this, and I did a little bit of looking around, and I think the original engine, the Gypsy Major 8, is the right engine for it. We just need to have someone who can build them well, build them properly, and incorporate all the knowledge from all the years it's been in production. I mean, it's got a TVO of 1,500 hours, that engine, so it's a good, solid engine, and it's the right one for the aeroplane. All we need to do is use modern manufacturing.
A TBL, a time before leaks, of 5 minutes.
Anyway, modernise where necessary, but otherwise keep the same fundamentals. And I reckon you could probably bring it in for under £200,000.
I doubt that. I'd be surprised.
You could probably bring in one of the wings for under £200,000.
Very good. Who's next?
Me. I'm next. So I kind of undernod. There was all sorts of airplanes I could have chosen here, and for a while I was kind of thinking of it. I was thinking my choice was the Mugol, but I thought,
Ooh.
Yeah, but in the end, I went for the Staggerwing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what?
You blurred out the back.
Yeah. Well, because Staggerwing, if you only really look at it from the front, because the tail is preposterously ugly. But I kind of figure that if I'm sitting inside looking forwards, I'm never going to see it, and I didn't want to inflict it on people here because it is but ugly. And so what I would do personally is I would, given that it's going to go back into production, I'd go to the designers and say, take the tail off of that or something that looks like the tail off of that and put it on here instead of that but ugly thing that it's got, that the apprentice must have done.
So interestingly, I was, because I challenged it and I said, clearly you're going to have to give us your vision of you say you want a Staggerwing back in production, but you don't like the fin. How are you going to solve that? And when he explained that it was a chipmunk fin, I did a quick bit of work for him and came up with this. That's your chipmunk fin on the back of a Staggerwing. So I'm not sure whether the viewers are all looking at that going, oh my goodness, my eyes.
No, I think we can rename that, Ed. We can call it the Staggerwing.
The Staggerwing or the Staggerian.
Not the Staggermonk.
The Staggermonk. Yeah.
Staggermonk.
Staggermonk. It does kind of work.
Yeah.
It does.
It does kind of work.
Yeah, much better than that aberration they got on there. Yeah. Oops. Yeah, and I reckon, Staggerwing's a quality airplane. You could fly all day at 160 knots, until you run out of fuel.
Which will probably take about 10 minutes, wouldn't it?
No. I think if it's probably the Cirrus of its day, but with panache and
yes,
Cirrus
Staggerwing. So if Cirrus made the Staggerwing, how much would it cost?
Well, if anyone made the Staggerwing to the quality that I think it should be made at, I think you'd be looking at a base level of $1 million before you start putting the options on.
I think so.
It's not a cheap airplane.
Chipperwing. The front end of Ian's wins.
Thank you very much, Kevin. We
haven't got to the end yet.
But I don't think we need to now, do we? We're done, aren't we?
That's it. Yeah. So Johnny, what brilliance did you must have gone? No, there's so many great aeroplanes out there. What am I putting back into production? I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I thought what we need more open cockpit biplanes in the modern age.
There's so many fantastic ones to choose from. What did you pick?
Which one
Johnny?
did you choose?
I've picked the good, glorious Tiger Moth.
No.
And I think from a marketing point of view, it'd have to be like a TYGR for the Tiger, just to bring it up to the 21st century. But I've not quite decided what engine I'd put in it. I've kind of thought of a few options, a diesel or two maybe.
No turbine.
You could slap a PT6 in there. It might elongate the nose a bit, but it'd still work. But I do reckon, having thought about it earlier, it's going to be a good 250k aeroplane probably if you did it to a fairly simple standard.
You haven't been here for 2 years, have you?
No.
Job. Yes, your employment has been revoked.
That and who did put that? Andrew Kennedy. Yeah, that's the one. A tiger.
With a Cornish accent as well.
Yeah.
That's it.
I did think of a Spearman, but I thought the Tiger Moth looks prettier.
Keir Williams says, I think Johnny's had a few too many tonight.
I think you're right, Keir. I think you are right. Ed, what have you gone for then?
Well, that leaves me, and I've gone for something that was super rare, but just truly lovely, and I would definitely love one of these, and I think it would be a fantastic little sport aeroplane to put back into production. You've probably never heard of it. There's not many around, but I picked this, the Ryan SC. Just a beautiful metal fabric wing, metal fuselage, mostly metal wing with fabric covered trailing edges, a Warner 145 horsepower Warner Super Scarab. It was first flown in 1937. The prototype had an inline engine, but all the production ones were the radial. Amazingly, only 11 were built. It went into production just for a year, just before Ryan had to close the production line with the onset of war. And around 7 survive today. But it was a really amazing airplane for its time. To put it into perspective, around that time, the Air Coupe had just flown, Culver, the Dart was about to become the Culver Cadet, and Piper was building Cubs. So you had personal transportation where either things like Ian's Staggerwing, which were really hot ships, or these 65 horsepower puddle jumpers. And this was a real kind of high performance airplane. It was beautifully engineered, all pressed skins, and it was all quite thick skins, and just very, very strong. Interestingly, in the sales brochure, Ryan used the line, "It's completely free from any possibility of wing flutter under all conditions." And that's not something you'd hear nowadays, but bearing in mind the flying public in 1937 was used to the problem of shredding wing fabric, and even the Staggerwing had problems with bits coming off. So the public were really skeptical of high performance airplanes with no bracing wires. So I think, the Ryan gets my vote. I would just love one of those. I think it's a beautiful little machine. But I suspect if we were to make that in a modern way nowadays, it would probably be at least £600,000. As Dave White said in the comments I saw earlier, it's fancy hangar, so it doesn't matter how much.
That is true.
So looking in the comments for people, let's see if we've had any suggestions. Ian's Stagger Monk has caused much mirth. There's a modern one. Andrew Kennedy said, "I'd like to put the MCR-01 back into production." That's quite a good little sport plane, and probably there's a few people wish that there were more of those new kits available for that. What else have we had? Martin Lusby, thinking big. Super Constellation, please.
No, Super Constellation is not a good-looking airplane.
We know you don't like the Constellation. You have problems getting over the nose wheel, don't you?
I do.
Julian Treadwell says Beagle Pup. Jonathan Smith says, "I might just be voting for Dave for the first time."
Very good, Jonathan.
What else have we got? Fournier RF4 says Nick Allen.
Someone's noticed that your Ryan has trousered wheels.
I do love a big trouser. I do love a big trouser. Darren Lewington says Ian's won.
Thank you, Darren.
So keep going. It's Tiger Moth.
Who nobody voted for that, surely.
Well, I don't know if it's a vote or just mirth at Johnny's spelling of tiger. Trevor White has an interesting Fiesler Storch with a 915 IS. I like that idea. That's a good one. Catkin says, "What about the Queen Bee, which was the drone version of the Tiger Moth? That's a drone, very trendy. You get government backing too." Well, Carol, you might get a £5 million grant to build
they're
Tiger Moths.
chucking out grants, aren't they?
That's it.
The modern day gold rush is eVTOL drone stuff, isn't it? Really,
that's it. Yeah. Paul Fraser Benison says Ed wins. Dan Smith says Ed wins. Jonathan Smith says Dave wins. Mark Lithen says Ed all the way. Dave White, Ed does win. Marcus Clark, Ed wins. It does look like the Ryan is a popular choice.
You're being very selective
as well. Ed's in charge. Dave wins without a doubt.
Yes,
Ed wins. Lovely bit of kit.
Yeah,
says Dave. Spot the Chipmunk fan.
Floozy is what it really means, isn't it?
Andrew Caldecott says Turby Taylor, Spartan Executive, or a Mozzie. Very good choice. Yeah. TSR2. That's a bit serious. Jeez. Marcus Clark points out no Luscombe's. Yeah, we banned Dave from that, and we did remind him that it's in production. So it's kind of. Kia
Yeah.
Williams, Beach Starship. Kia, I do love a Starship. Yeah, that's a good choice.
Hey,
Peter
thank you for
Bristol,
the Starship.
PR250. Robin, that's a fantastic aeroplane. Yes. Darren
The
Lewington.
Starship looks a bit dated now.
The Starship does look a bit dated, I think. Yeah, but it's still a fantastic kind of machine. Leah Fay says the thought of being able to rock up and buy a brand new Chipmunk does seem rather lovely.
Absolutely.
Dave, you have a vote. FC says Team Chipmunk all the way. I'm still going to call my win though.
Well, I'd just like to remind everybody of the Staggermonk.
It is interesting. Your Staggermonk, yeah, is an interesting concoction.
Yeah,
I can see a feature in a future flyer. It's like aeroplanes that were not quite right, but the flyer team bring you their fixes.
You think maybe we should find someone who's good at that CGI stuff and just write flight tests of fictitious airplanes that don't actually exist. the Staggermonk.
The Staggermonk. Jonathan Smith said, "Is that flag behind Ian's the People Republic of Rantania?"
It's the flyer. It's the flyer flag, and I've put it here because all important people clearly have flags, obviously. But I've ordered myself a little red briefcase as well.
Excellent, good. Well, it's a good. Oh,
it's a good thing.
Oh, Clive Sutton.
Clive Sutton, Stagger wins.
Thank you, Clive. Thank you, Clive.
Hun of the week.
Make him the winner.
Right.
Okay. Good stuff. What's next?
That's where we're doing. How is it? 8:30 already?
I know we're quite a long time over time, but I think that was that superb interview.
It was a fantastic interview. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Okay, so should we rattle through some events and club stuff then?
Yes.
Yep. So events, Vintage Saturday at Compton this Saturday. It's also Flying Day at Duxford, but all the slots are booked, so you can't just rock up there. Coming up, Ordinary Flying Club flying on the 15th to the 17th of October. The LAA are having a Fly It Day on Tuesday, the 26th of October. This is to commemorate their 75th anniversary. They're also holding it again on the Sunday, in case you can't do it on a Tuesday. Last day of the month, All Hallows Vintage Aircraft Club flying at Western. And, of course, Pilot Careers Live in London on the 6th of November. While I was looking around for events, I just thought it's about this time of year that we start to hear about Gasco safety evenings. But so far, not a word. Yeah.
Well, they were replaced by Astral Aviation, weren't they? But they were still doing some. They were still talking about doing some. So we'll see what happens. Yes. Johnny.
Yeah. So club members, I'm looking at getting something sorted for the winter, which will be an exciting event that's to do with underwater escape training. So stay tuned for more on that. It'll also involve dealing with life rafts if you want to get experience of doing that. So we'll send more information out very soon, and I hope that the three guys joining me on the screen might give it a go as well.
Is that the CIA putting Ian in a box and throwing him in the sea?
I'm glad you picked the winter. This is not like open water, is it?
Oh no! This is heated with a massage afterwards.
It's the Flyer Club. Get into a life raft training in Barbados.
Yeah.
If the Flyer Club organised life raft training, it would be like this. Cocktails first.
We're also talking to Leicester about doing an actual live stream. So we'll keep club members informed about that, because it'd be good to get together, have a bit of a live stream, and then have a usual Leicester curry evening afterwards. So we're just sorting the finer details for that, but that's going to happen in the next few months. So we'll keep you posted on that. And if you're not a member, you can go to fly.co.uk, click the club tab at the top, and join for just £7.50 per quarter for now.
Exactly. It will be going up. Very good. I think, given that it's a bit late, we'll probably skip the video, which was the little kit aircraft flying around in a kind of corporate video. If that's okay.
We can put a link online, I'm sure, in the news story.
It's in the news story, actually, on the web.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. Go to www.fly.co.uk, click the link in the news story, and fill your boots with their kind of stuff. So thank you very much for that. Thank you very much, SkyDemon, for sponsoring this. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching it. Thank you very much, Zara, for being a fantastic guest. Yes, well, that's it. Thank you. We look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great weekend. enjoy your flying, and I'm kind of trying to look up at the same time as find my little splash screen for saying thank you. Oh, where's it gone?
So fly safe, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
There it is. Thank you very much. See you soon.